Hi, welcome again to The Walking Word. My name is Annie, where we go through the Bible in a year. And for us to go through the Bible in a year, we must read 5 chapters a day. Now, we are picking up from Genesis chapter 21, the birth of Isaac. The Lord took note of Sarah as he had said he would. God keeps his promises. He did for her as he had promised. Sarah became pregnant and bore Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time that God had stated. At the set time. God's timing is perfect. So Abraham gave the name Isaac to his son, of whom Sarah bore him. When his son Isaac was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him, as God had commanded him. Remember, circumcision was the sign of the covenant between Abraham and God. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Sarah then said, God has given me cause to laugh. God has given me a reason to laugh. And all who hear of it will laugh with me. Right? Remember when the angel announced, when the Lord announced to Abraham, Abraham laughed, like, how can I have kids in my 100th year? And also to Sarah, and then Sarah also laughed. So the actual meaning of the name Isaac is laugh. Let's continue. Verse 7. Who would have told Abraham? She added. But Sarah would nurse children. Who would have told Abraham that in this lifetime Sarah would have nursed children? So this is Sarah pondering. Yet I have borne him a son in his old age. So Isaac grew, and on the day of the child's weaning, Abraham held a feast, a great feast. Many Eastern tribes, many Eastern nations, when the baby is weaned, when the mother is able to come out in public and things like that, there's normally a celebration. So this is normal for Eastern cultures, Africans, Asians, Middle Eastern. It happens a lot. To date, let's continue. Verse 9. Sarah noticed the son whom Hagar, the Egyptian, had born to Abraham, playing with her son Isaac. So this is Ishmael now playing with Isaac. So she demanded of Abraham, drive out that slave and her son. No son of that slave is going to share the inheritance with my son Isaac. So in other versions, you'll hear it saying, Sarah noticed the son whom Hagar, the Egyptian, had born to Abraham, scoffing. So the Ishmael was scoffing at Isaac. He was making fun of Isaac. So this is a baby. He's just been weaned. Ishmael at this point is about 13 years old. He's a teenager. And he's laughing at his half brother, scoffing at his half brother. So anyway, Sarah is, no, they need to go. Abraham was greatly distressed, especially on account of his son Ishmael. So Abraham had created some bond with Ishmael at this point. But God said to Abraham, do not be distressed about the boy or about your slave woman, Hagar. Heed the demands of Sarah, no matter what she is asking of you, for it is through Isaac that descendants shall bear your name. It is through the lineage of Isaac, and this is how we actually come down into Christianity, a story for another day, that they will bear your name. That's why to date, Christians are called daughters of Abraham, sons of Abraham. Okay. As for the son of the slave woman, I will make a great nation of him also, since he too is your offspring. So one is an offspring, one bears the name of the father. Okay. Early the next morning, Abraham got some bread and a skin of water and gave them to Hagar. Then, placing the child on her back, he sent her away. As she roamed aimlessly in the wilderness of Beersheba. I mean, she's far from home. She doesn't even know where to go, where to start. She's just living with her master is all she's known all her years. So now she's just wondering, how do I even, move around? So she roamed aimlessly in the wilderness of Beersheba. The water in the skin was used up, so she put the child down under a shrub and then went and sat down opposite him, about a bow shot away, so just a few meters away from him. For she said to herself, "Let me not watch to see the child die." As she sat opposite him, he began to cry. God heard the boy's cry, and God's messenger called to Hagar from heaven. "What is the matter, Hagar? Don't be afraid. God has heard the boy's cry in this plight of his. Arise, lift up the boy and hold him by the hand, for I will make of him a great nation." Then again, we see God's mercy. We continue seeing God's mercy. As much as I haven't made Ishmael the son of inheritance, the son that will bear Abraham's name, nonetheless, I will still make him a great nation. This is where we see God's mercy in every situation. So God tells Hagar, "What is the matter, Hagar? Don't be afraid. God has heard the boy's cry in this plight of his. Arise, lift up the boy and hold him by the hand, for I will make of him a great nation." Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. She went and filled the skin with water, and then let the boy drink. God was with the boy as he grew up. He lived in the wilderness and became an expert bowman. With his home in the wilderness of Paran, his mother got a wife for him from the land of Egypt. So Hagar went back to Egypt to her people and got a wife for Ishmael. But nonetheless, just the nature of God that we see here is God opening her eyes. God opening her eyes, that even in the difficult moments, God still opens our eyes that we may see the well of water, that we may see the possibility and the way out, regardless of the situation we are in, regardless of the wilderness we're walking in. And then it adds that God was with the boy as he grew up. So, as Ishmael in his teenage years, as he's growing, he's a herdsman, he's a wild guy, he's a hunter, he's good with the bow. God is just watching him as he grows. The pact at Beersheba. Now in verse 22. About that time, Abimelech, accompanied by Phicol, the commander of his army, said to Abraham, "God is with you in everything you do. Therefore," wait a minute, before I continue here, there's a name that Hagar gives God, the God who sees. The God who sees. That's El Roi, the God who sees. So when she finally encounters the God in the wilderness, she calls him. That's the first place we get the name El Roi, the God who sees. Yeah, so the God who sees you, regardless of in what situation you are in. The pact at Beersheba. Let's continue. Verse 22. About that time, Abimelech, accompanied by Phicol, the commander of his army, said to Abraham, remember Abimelech, the one who God forgave him or had mercy on him, not allowing him to sleep with Sarah, the wife of Abraham? Aha. So it continues. About that time, Abimelech, accompanied by Phicol, the commander of his army, said to Abraham, "God is with you in everything you do. Therefore, swear to me by God at this place that you will not deal falsely with me or with my progeny and prosperity and posterity, but will act with loyalty toward me and the land in which you stay, as I have acted toward you." Remember that time Abimelech just gave him everything and told him, "Settle wherever you want within my land. I want no beef with you, and I want no beef with your God." Uh-huh. To this, Abraham replied, "I swear, I so swear." Abraham, however, reproached Abimelech about a well that Abimelech's men had seized by force. "I have no idea who did that," Abimelech replied. "In fact, you never told me about it. nor did I ever hear of it until now. So one of Abimelech's guys was beefing with Abraham and snatched a well. Remember that time, because of sources of water were limited, or rather, the process, it's not as easy for us where everything is piped. For them, they had to dig wells and things like that. So, well was a very important resource in a community. So Abimelech is saying, "Oh, oops, sorry, I didn't know my guys had done that to you. You should have told me." Then Abraham took sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and the two made a pact. So this is the sign of their covenant. The sheep and the cattle. Abraham also set apart 7 ewe lambs of the flock, and Abimelech asked him, "What is the purpose of these 7 ewe lambs that you have set apart?" Abraham answered, "The 7 ewe lambs you shall accept from me, that thus I may have your acknowledgement that the well was dug by me." So I'm giving you these 7 lambs so that you and I can agree that this well that me and your guys were beefing over, it is I who dug it. This is why the place is called Beersheba. The two of them took an oath there. When they had then made the pact in Beersheba, Abimelech, along with Phicol, the commander of his army, left and returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk at Beersheba, and there he invoked the name of the Lord, God the Eternal. Mm. Mhm. God Eternal. So the word God Eternal, if I can remember correctly, the word God Eternal, that's El Olam. I believe it must be El. Yes, it is El Olam. The God, the Lord God, the Eternal. So the eternal name of God is called El Olam. Earlier on, we read the name of God, El Roi, the God who sees. El Olam, the God eternal. Okay. Until the next chapter, next episode, chapter 22.